Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Patrick Tangredi. I am the PCC Theater Chair of the program, and I'm also the director of this evening's production. Thank you so much for coming out tonight and joining us for the American premiere of Stan Sakai and Stewart Melton's Usagi Yojimbo. We're very much looking forward to the Q&A that's just about to start, but first I would like to introduce Stan Sakai. Stan was born in Kyoto, Japan. He grew up in Hawaii. He lives in California. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Am I still? Can you hear me now? Okay. Thank you. Can we do that again, Stan? Would you go away so you can come back and people can applaud when you come back? Stan was born in Kyoto, Japan. He grew up in Hawaii. He lives in California. He has two children, Hannah and Matthew, and recently married artist Julie Fujii, who joins him here tonight. Stan received a fine arts degree from the University of Hawaii and furthered his studies at the Art Center College of Design in Pasadena, California. Stan's creation, Usagi Yojimbo, first appeared in comics in 1984. Since then, Usagi has been on television as a guest of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and has been made into toys, seen on clothing, and featured in a series of graphic novel collections, the most recently of which was Usagi Yojimbo 200 Jizo, the 29th volume in a series which collects over 200 issues of the comic book. Stan is also an award-winning letterer, not only on his own Usagi books and comics, but among others, and on the Spider-Man Sunday newspaper strips. Stan is, in fact, the recipient of multiple awards for his work, most recently a Lifetime Achievement Award bestowed upon him just 10 days ago at this year's Lucca Comics Festival in the Italian.
Well, actually, it was like 4 or 5 days ago.
4 or 5 days ago. Okay. In the Italian walled city of Lucca, is that how it's pronounced? Thank you. Among many other honors, Stan has won a prestigious National Cartoonist Society Award in 2003, and in 2011, Stan received the Cultural Ambassador Award from the Japanese American National Museum in Los Angeles. It is my great honor and privilege to welcome Stan to Portland Community College and to this American premiere of the play based on his popular comics character. Would you join me in welcoming Stan Sakai?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Patrick. My pleasure to have you here.
We took some questions from the audience. We also took a few previous before tonight, and I'm going to pick them at random, and hopefully these will satisfy. Stan, if you could be any comic character, who would you be?
Oh, I guess it'd be Spider-Man. I grew up with Spider-Man, Steve Ditko's Spider-Man, and you know, one day out of the blue, Stan Lee calls me up and says, "Hey, Stan," and it just sounds just like Stan Lee, you know. But he asked me to do the lettering for the Spider-Man newspaper strips, the Sunday strips, and at that time, that was the only thing he was writing. So of course I said, "Yeah." So you know, it's kind of neat, you know.
Yeah. Thank you. What was the first thing that you drew?
Oh, I've been drawing all my life. I don't know. I remember in grade school, we were all drawing army men. So I guess it must have been something like that.
I have read that you never miss a deadline. Wow, how do you do it?
I'm terrified of my editors. I am. Diana Schutz, who was my editor for the longest time, can attest to that. She's the sweetest, most wonderful woman in the world, and I am deadly afraid of her. You know?
Who are some of your biggest influences artistically?
Again, going back to Spider-Man, it would be Steve Ditko, who was the co-creator of Spider-Man, and also people like Jack Kirby, Sergio Aragonés, who I've worked with on Crew the Wanderer, European artists such as Milo Manara or Mobius, also the Japanese I grew up with, Osamu Tezuka's work. My mom would read them to me when I was a kid. And you know, so it's a whole range.
Do you ever get bored of writing your character? 30 years is a long time.
You know, I own Usagi, and Dark Horse, or any of my publishers, my contracts with all my publishers have been the same, where whatever I send in, they would publish. So I could write any type of stories I wanted. I've done romance, I've done crime, action, adventure, purely cultural stuff such as the tea ceremony. And so, it's always fresh for me. I can write, it makes things interesting.
You recently illustrated 47 Ronin with Mike Richardson. What was it like to work with another writer?
Well, this is the first time I've worked with another person for an extended period of time. And when Mike called me to ask me about illustrating this, at first I was hesitant because, I grew up with the story of the 47 Ronin. I knew it from, must be like the 3rd grade. And so I just says, well, 47 Ronin, but do you know about the 48th Ronin? Then he told me, yes, that's who's telling the story. And I thought that was a stroke of genius. It's never been done before. And I think it was 47 Ronin has been turned into movies, operas, and everything in like 150 different types of, movies or TV series. And in all that time, that's never been done. There was a Ronin, a samurai, who is buried along with them. And he was not part of the original 47, but because of circumstances. So, and Mike knew about that. So I thought it was brilliant. So I said, yes, I'm on board.
Can I ask a follow-up to that? It seems that adaptation really does fit in a way. It sounds like the many different genres that you talked about, adventure, romance. Do you find that the influence of story, as well as visual artists, do you find yourself being influenced by stories specifically like this one? But
Oh, yeah,
were there
definitely,
other,
definitely. Yeah, the real life stories, stories from everywhere from different lands. Incidentally, for the 47 Ronin, all the scenes of the temple, Sengakuji Temple, were from my photographs because I had visited there prior to working on the series. And like I said, this is very special to me. Just about any person of Japanese descent, who knows anything about history knows about the 47 Ronin, and it's that much of a impact in history. So, for me to take this on, it was, I was at first a bit hesitant just because, I was a bit overwhelmed, but, I'm so glad I did it. And Mike was a pleasure to work with. He was open to suggestions. He wanted this to be a true collaboration. So he encouraged me to, make the few suggestions that I did, and he was very open to it. And, I tossed things in, like, I think it was the emperor at that time, I think it was Tsunoyoshi or somewhere, was called the Dog Emperor. So I had little dogs running around the streets of Edo whenever I drew a street scene and wanted to do something, historical like that.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you. I'm going to save that for the end. What inspired you to make Usagi Yojimbo comics?
Well, I grew up reading comics. Comics gave me my love of reading in general. And I wanted to do a comic book series inspired by the life of a real-life samurai named Miyomoto Musashi. But one day while drawing in my sketchbook, I drew a drawing of a rabbit with his ears tied up into a chonmage, a samurai top knot. And I loved the design. It was unique, very simple. And that's how Usagi Yojimbo was born.
Is it possible, when you say that, so it doesn't sound like it was a conscious, it sounds like maybe sometimes you draw and something's coming, but you don't always know where it's going.
Yeah.
Does that still happen with Usagi?
It does. Idle drawings like that may lead to a story or, just an idea for a different character designs, backgrounds, anything.
Okay, cool, thanks. Do you feel sorry for killing off Noodles because you made me sad? Not a question.
Noodles is a character in a story called Noodles, and basically he was crucified at the end. And that story won a Haxter Award in Spain. He was nominated for the Eisner Award. And, I thought it was a pretty gripping story. It was tragic and it was funny at the same time, but, it was a very moving story, I thought.
Excellent. Have you read the script? And I think this refers to the script that we're doing tonight. And how accurate is Stewart Melton's adaptation? Before you answer that, let me explain briefly. We're the American premiere, but this play was done in England.
Yes.
And Stewart Melton is the adapter who read quite a bit, although I think you can fill in some more about this, read quite a bit of Usagi, and then tried to come up with an 18-scene play with 30-plus years of work. So I'm curious, if he were here, how did he filter that all down? But have you read the script? How close do you think? How accurate is Stewart's
I've read the script, and it's a completely different take on Usagi. For one thing, his mother has a prominent role in the story, which I never even discussed his mother in the comic books. But I love the script. I thought the story was wonderful. The only thing I regret about not seeing the London performance is I would have loved to have heard Usagi speak that with that British accent,
We'll ask our guy if he can help you out. He's quite proficient. What's your favorite place in Portland?
Well, Dark Horse Comics is. So I gotta say Milwaukie.
Okay. Also, what's your favorite place in the world? You visited a lot of places in the world. Where have you been that you really enjoyed?
I love going to Japan. I would go to Japan at any time. Other places would be the Emerald Coast of France with Mont Saint-Michel and that whole Brittany, Normandy area. I love that. Like you said, I was just in Italy about 30 hours ago, and I enjoy traveling, and it's a blessing because I grew up in Hawaii, and I never thought I'd ever be able to visit other places other than whatever's on that rock. But it's really neat.
How long does it take you to draw a page of Usagi?
Well, I try to draw a page a day when I work. It generally takes me about 5 weeks to do an entire story from initial idea to the time I send the final pages in. Right now, there's been a lot of turmoil in my life, so I've been going a lot slower. But generally, 5 weeks, it also gives me enough time to work on other projects, such as lettering for Guru the Wanderer or for miscellaneous projects, such as this is a 65th anniversary of Charlie Schultz's Peanuts. So Julie and I worked on a story together for a coffee table book, a tribute book. And, it gives me time to do things like that. So 5 weeks is a nice work pace for me.
How does a fan go about acquiring original art from you?
They could go to sakai.com. I don't sell story pages. They're going to a museum. But I do sell covers and miscellaneous drawings and things like that.
Okay. What is the strangest thing anyone's ever asked you to sign?
I think we'll go to the next question.
Okay, well, this might be a good exit. Well, it's pretty close to time to start the show, so I want to alert our staff who need a few minutes to get everything ready. But we have what looks not like a question, but I think a really lovely sentiment. It says, "We just want to say thank you for more than 30 years of bringing your stories and culture to children and adults alike." I think that sentiment is probably shared by most of the people in this audience. Thank you so much, Stan, for coming and visiting us. We're really looking forward to you being here at PCC. And thank you so much for the comics and also for what you're about to see tonight.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you.